The night was too quiet for Nia to sleep. She tossed on the thin mattress, listening to the soft tick of the old clock in her aunt's kitchen. The village outside was still, just a few dogs barking in the distance, a baby crying somewhere down the hill. Then it came again, a sound, not a regular one, not something you'd expect in the middle of dry cliffs and sleeping goats. It was deep, broken, like thunder caught in someone's throat, a roar. Mia froze. At first, she thought it was just her mind playing tricks. But it came again quieter, like something was choking on its own voice. She sat up. Whatever it was, it didn't sound right. It didn't sound strong. It sounded hurt. Ia slipped on her slippers and crept past her aunt's room. The door creaked, and she winced, pausing for a second. Then she opened it just wide enough to slip out into the cold. She didn't take a flashlight. She knew these cliffs well. She'd climbed them during dry seasons, thrown rocks off the edge just to hear them bounce. But this time, something pulled her differently. Her chest was tight. Her legs moved on their own. The roar didn't come again. She climbed the path between two boulders, breath short, eyes squinting through the dark. Crickets chirped louder here, and a cold breeze brushed past her ears. She crouched and peered. Over the edge, nothing. Then she heard something below, something like a rough exhale, like someone trying to breathe through pain. Carefully, she lowered herself down the slope, hands gripping the rocks. Loose stones slipped under her feet, but she didn't stop. Her heart raced. It wasn't fear. It was something else. Something heavy in her chest. She reached a small ledge near the base of the ravine. There, in the shadow, lay something massive. It was barely visible in the dark, but the shape was clear enough. A lion, huge but thin, bones pressing through skin. His fur was matted, dark with dried blood. One leg stuck out at an odd angle. His chest rose and fell, slow and shallow. He didn't move when she stepped closer. Her mouth went dry. Every part of her screamed to run, but she didn't. His eyes opened. Faintly glowing in the dark, they locked onto hers. Not wild, not angry, just tired. Nay didn't breathe. The lion blinked. For a moment, the world stopped. The wind, the crickets, the fear, everything just paused. Then she took a step back. Then another. And she ran all the way up the slope, past the sleeping goats, into the village, through her door, back to her mattress. She didn't sleep. The next morning, her aunt noticed her silence. "You look pale. Bad dreams?" Nia shook her head. That day, at lunch, she tucked 2 pieces of flatbread into her pocket. That night, she went back. She didn't tell herself why. She didn't plan it. Her body just moved, as if the silence in those eyes had wrapped itself around her heart. The sky was cloudy. No stars. She walked slower this time, less afraid. The lion was still there. He didn't lift his head, but his eyes opened when she crouched, placing the bread carefully on the flat stone a few feet away. She didn't dare go closer. He sniffed. Then, slowly, painfully, he moved. Each movement made her flinch. He dragged himself forward, pulling his body like something broken. He reached the bread, opened his jaws, and took the smallest bite. She almost cried. He chewed slowly. Every piece looked like effort. He finished the bread, licked his dry lips, and looked at her again. She whispered, "I'll come back tomorrow." The lion didn't blink. She turned and left. The next night she brought more food, rice, wrapped in cloth. She added boiled egg this time. He ate again, this time with a little more strength. She whispered again, "I'm not gonna hurt you." Still, he didn't move. He just watched by the 5th night. She sat on the ground. Not close. Just enough to see him clearly. His body looked rough, ribs showing, fur missing in patches. A cut ran down his front leg, still red. His mane was tangled, nothing like the one she'd seen in storybooks, but he was beautiful. He was alive. Her. Aunt noticed her muddy shoes that night. "You've been going somewhere." Nia hesitated. "Just walking." "In the dark? That's foolish." "I like the quiet," she mumbled, then left the room. The sixth night, she brought water. She poured it into an old metal bowl, slid it forward with a stick. The lion sniffed, then drank Dot. It was the first sound she heard from him besides the weak roars. Just the soft laps of a tongue against water. "You're not scary," she whispered. "You're just broken." The lion blinked slowly. She didn't stay long that night. The wind had turned sharp. But as she climbed up, she turned back one. Last time, he was still looking at her. Each night became a secret. She'd leave food, sit nearby, whisper things. Stories, dreams, complaints about her aunt's rules, about school, about her dad, who never wrote back. "I don't know your name," she said once. "But I think you used to be someone, not just some animal hiding in rocks." The lion shifted. That night, she noticed he'd moved closer to where she always sat just a few inches. The next night, it was a foot closer. Something inside her shifted to She started saving scraps. Feeding him took priority over her own lunch. Kids at school teased her about always eating plain rice. She didn't care. Each night, the bond deepened. No touches, no growls. Just silent understanding. But on the 10th night, she noticed something else. Footprints, fresh ones, not hers. Not the lion's. Someone else had been there. Her heart thumped. She looked down at the lion, who was staring at the same footprints. His ears were low. His body tensed. She whispered, "Someone's coming." He looked at her, and for the first time, she felt a fear. Not hers, his. And she realized then, he wasn't just hiding from the world. He was running from it. I didn't eat much at dinner. She just pushed her food around until her aunt looked up and said, "You feeling sick again?" "I'm fine," Nia muttered, slipping some rice and meat into a small cloth. When her aunt turned her back, she waited until the house was quiet. The second her aunt's snores filled the room, Nia grabbed the cloth bundle and tiptoed out the door. The night was colder than before, the air sharp against her face, but she didn't care. Her legs already knew the way. She kept thinking about the lion's eyes. Not wild, not dangerous, just tired, broken, like something that used to be strong, but had given up. She reached the ravine and paused. The lion was still there, lying in the same spot. But this time, his head was raised. He saw her coming. He didn't growl, didn't move. "Hey," she whispered. She crouched a few feet away and placed the food on a flat rock between them. Then she backed up, slow, heart pounding. The lion didn't react right away. He just stared. Nia whispered again, "It's okay. It's food. I brought it for you." The lion moved. Not fast, nothing about him was fast. Every motion was heavy, like lifting weights with every step. He pulled himself forward. His nose twitched as he reached the rock. He sniffed. Then, gently, he opened his mouth and took the first bite. Nia didn't realize she'd been holding her breath until he swallowed. A piece of meat. Then another. He chewed slowly, careful. His jaws moved as if they hadn't worked in days. She watched every bite. It wasn't just hunger. It was trust. The moment felt quiet, big. "I knew you were still alive," she whispered. The lion didn't lift his head, but he didn't run. He didn't growl. When the food was gone, he licked the stone and looked up at her. His eyes caught the moonlight. Golden, soft, unreadable. Aya stood up slowly. "I'll come back tomorrow," she said. She waited. He blinked once. That was enough. Back in her room, she didn't sleep. She just stared at the ceiling and whispered to herself, "He ate it. He's not scared of me." The next morning, her aunt noticed the meat missing. "I thought I wrapped leftovers. I was hungry later," Mia said quickly. Her aunt gave her a side look. "You never eat seconds." "I do now," Nia replied, avoiding eye contact. That night she packed more food. A bit of bread, a boiled egg, some scraps of chicken. Her hands shook a little. It felt like a secret too big to carry Dot when she reached the cliff. She saw him again. This time, the lion raised his head when he heard her. "You remembered." She smiled softly. She sat a little closer than last time. Still a safe distance. Still careful, but she could hear him breathe now. She placed the food, and again, he came. Slowly, dragging his body closer. He ate. This time, faster Dot. Then he looked at her, and for a brief second, he tilted his head. Just slightly, like he was curious. "You're not just hungry," she whispered. "You're waiting." The next night, he was already sitting up when she arrived. Each visit a little closer. Each meal a little faster. He started recognizing her voice. Sometimes, when she'd say, "I'm back," he would twitch his ears. Dot by the fourth visit. She didn't leave right away. She sat and talked. "I know you're scared. I would be too." She told him about school, about how she hated math, about how her dad left and never came back, about how her aunt worked too much and didn't notice when she cried. The lion blinked slowly. His tail moved once, brushing against the ground. "You don't talk much either, huh?" She smiled. On the fifth night, she forgot to pack food. But she went anyway. He was there. She sat down and whispered, "I'm sorry. I didn't bring anything tonight. But I didn't want you to think I forgot you." He didn't move. She stayed for a while. Just talking. Just sitting. When she stood to leave, the lion lowered his head gently, resting it on his paws. "I'll bring more tomorrow," she promised. She walked home in silence, a lion and a girl, sharing quiet nights on the edge of the world that no one knew. No one could understand. But for Nia, that silence meant everything. And for the lion, maybe it meant survival. If you feel connected to this story, please like, share, and let know your city or country below. By the sixth night, Nia noticed something different. The lion didn't eat right away. He kept shifting his weight, like he was in pain. She watched closely and saw it, a deep wound on his front leg. The skin around it looked swollen, and there were other marks too, like bite scars, some old, some fresh. "Who did this to you?" she whispered. He didn't flinch, just stared at the food, then at her. The next night, she didn't just bring food. She brought an old cloth, a bottle of boiled water, and a tiny jar of cream her aunt used for cuts. She knew it wasn't much, but it was all she had. As she approached, she said softly, "Don't be scared, okay? I'm not gonna hurt you." The lion stayed where he was. Nia sat closer this time, still a few feet away. She dipped the cloth in the warm water and wrung it out. "Can I help you?" He blinked. Nia slid forward slowly, breast shallow. When she reached the edge of his paw, she paused. He watched her hand, but didn't move. She pressed the cloth gently to the wound. The lion jerked a little, muscles tightening, but he didn't growl, didn't pull away. "I know it stings," she said. "Just hang on." She cleaned the area with soft dabs, her hands shaking. Blood stained the cloth. The gash was deeper than she thought. She whispered, "Someone did this to you. I know they did." Then she opened the jar and reached forward again. The lion stayed still. She smeared a little of the cream onto the wound and said, "This is what my aunt puts on go-cuts. I think it helps." When she was done, she sat back, heart pounding. The lion lowered his head slowly, eyes half closed. Nia took a deep breath and whispered, "You're not just hurt. You've been through something bad." She stayed longer that night, just talking, telling him little stories about the goats, about how her aunt snores louder than thunder, and about how she once got caught stealing mangoes from the neighbor's yard. "You're lucky," she smiled. "No school, no chores, no aunt yelling at you." The lion let out a low breath. It wasn't a growl, more like a sigh. When she finally stood, she said, "I'll bring more cloth tomorrow. And eggs. You like those." She walked home with her head spinning inside. Her aunt was waiting. "Where have you been, girl?" Nia froze. Her shoes were muddy. The cloth in her pocket was damp. "I just walked around." "In the dark? Again? I like the air." Her aunt stared at her. "You come home with mud every night. You're hiding something." "I'm not," Nia said quickly. "I just need space sometimes." Her aunt narrowed her eyes. "You better not be going to the cliffs. That place isn't safe." "I'm not," Nia lied. Heart thumping, she went straight to her room and sat on the bed, hands trembling. The next evening, she snuck out earlier. This time, she brought extra cloth, more boiled water, and hard-boiled eggs wrapped in leaves. When she reached the ravine, the lion was already sitting up. "You waited for me." She smiled. She fed him slowly, holding the eggs out with a stick. He took them carefully, without showing his teeth. Then she cleaned the wound again. It didn't look as red as before. Maybe it was healing. She talked as she worked, telling him about a story her mother used to tell before she left, about a brave lion who once saved a child from fire. "Funny how now I'm the one saving you," she whispered. The lion's tail moved slightly. That night, she brought a blanket from the goat shed, old, itchy, but warm. She didn't cover him, just left it beside him. "You can use it if you want." Before she left, she sat one last time. "You know," she said, "I think I needed you as much as you needed me." He didn't blink, didn't roar. He just listened. And for Nia, that was enough. The seventh night, Nia sat closer than ever before. The lion didn't seem to mind. He didn't growl or move away. His head rested on his paws as she dabbed at his healing wound with clean cloth. But when her elbow brushed a loose rock, he jerked back, eyes wide, body tense. "It's okay," she said quickly. It was just a stone. "I didn't mean to." But he didn't relax. His chest rose and fell faster, eyes darting, muscles ready to run. Nia lowered her hands and spoke softly. "Did someone hurt you like that before? Did they make sudden moves?" The lion stood up halfway, limping backward, still watching her. She sat perfectly still. "I won't hurt you. Ever." After a while, his shoulders relaxed. He lowered himself again, a little further away this time. Nia didn't try to touch him. She just sat there, legs crossed, watching. And that's when she saw it. A patch near his ribs where the fur was missing. At first, she thought it was just an old wound. But when the moonlight shifted, she saw the skin underneath, rough, discolored. Burned. Her stomach turned. It wasn't just cuts and bite marks. Someone had burned him. She didn't say anything that night, didn't ask questions. She just stayed with him in the quiet. But her mind was loud. The next evening, she packed extra food, water, and a new jar of cream. When she arrived, he was waiting again, still lying down, but alert. She crouched and said, "I saw the mark on your side. That didn't happen in a fight, did it?" The lion didn't blink. She placed the food between them. He ate slowly this time, chewing without taking his eyes off her. Nia's hand shook a little. "You were trapped, weren't you? You didn't run from another animal. You ran from people." The lion's tail twitched. He didn't move when she reached for the healing wound on his leg. He let her clean it. He let her speak. "My mom used to say that people can be worse than wild things," she whispered. She left. And sometimes I wonder if she was running too. The lion shifted slightly. His body curled tighter, as if bracing for something. Nia saw another scar, a thin one, just under his neck. Long and pale. Something had been around his throat. A collar? No, something thicker. Tighter? A chain? Mia looked down at her hands, then back at him. Were you someone's prisoner? The lion looked up. His golden eyes caught the light. For 1 second, he just stared, and in that moment, Nia felt something cold move through her chest. Remember she knew it. I'm sorry, she whispered. Whatever they did to you, I'm so sorry. The lion blinked. He didn't look away. Each night after that, she stayed longer. She brought bits of fish, goat meat, even sweet potatoes. Anything she could steal without her aunt noticing. He started eating closer to her now. No more dragging the food away. No more backing off after she cleaned him. Sometimes, when she talked, he'd move his ears, like he was listening. One night, she reached out her hand slowly, palm open, fingers steady. He didn't move. But he didn't growl either. She stopped. Just a few inches away. I won't touch you until you're ready. She pulled her hand back and sat in silence. The wind rustled through the rocks above them. Somewhere far off, a night bird called. Did they keep you in a cage? She whispered. The lion closed his eyes. Nia swallowed hard. She thought about what kind of person it took to hurt something so majestic, so silent, so broken. The next night, she brought an old book. Not to read from, she couldn't even pronounce half the words, but just to show him pictures. She flipped the pages and said, Look, this is what a lion's supposed to look like. Strong, bold, not hiding in a ditch. The lion looked at the photo. A wild lion on a plain. Mane full, body tall. She smiled sadly. You were like that once, weren't you? He shifted closer. Just an inch. But it felt like a mile. She didn't react. Just kept flipping pages, pretending not to notice. Later, as she was leaving, she whispered, I don't care what they did to you. To me, you're still that lion in the picture. She turned and walked up the path. But this time, before she reached the top, she looked back. He was still watching her. The next morning, her aunt said, You've been sneaking out. Mia's spoon froze in her hand. What? Your shoes, your smell. And you've been stealing food. I haven't. Don't lie to me, girl, her aunt snapped. What's out there? Nia stood up quickly. Nothing. I just go to sit, to think. Her aunt narrowed her eyes. If I find out you're lying, I'm not, Nia shouted. Then she ran to her room, slammed the door, and covered her face with her hands. Her heart was racing, her body shaking. That night she went back anyway. She had to. The lion was there. She sat quietly. No food, no cloth. Just her. And after a few minutes, he did something he hadn't done before. He inched forward, then lowered his head beside her. Leg not touching, just near. She didn't move. Didn't speak. She just breathed. And in that silence, two broken souls sat beneath the cliffs, both scarred, both healing, together. Mia couldn't stop thinking about the night before, the way the lion had rested near her leg, the way his eyes had stayed open, as if guarding her. But as she walked home through the narrow trail that cut between the rocks, something felt off. The breeze had stopped. Even the crickets had gone quiet. Every few steps she turned her head. Nothing. Still, the feeling stuck to her skin like cold sweat. She picked up her pace. Halfway down, she thought she heard footsteps behind her. Just once. A crunch. A shift. Then nothing. She stopped. Hello? She whispered. No answer. She stood still for a moment, heart racing, then broke into a run. She didn't stop until she reached her gate and slammed it shut behind her. Inside, her aunt looked up. Why are you panting? I just ran home, Nia said, trying to catch her breath. At night? You're not a goat. I thought I heard something. You shouldn't be out there, Nia. I know, she muttered and hurried to her room. The next day, the feeling didn't leave her. Even at school, she kept glancing out the window. During lunch, her friend Lena asked, "Why do you keep looking over your shoulder?" "No reason. You're being weird." "I just didn't sleep well," Nia said, forcing a smile. As soon as school ended, she didn't go home. She went straight to the ravine. The lion was waiting. She crouched beside him and unpacked her bag: rice, cooked chicken, a damp cloth. He didn't move much, just kept staring past her, eyes fixed on the edge of the cliff. "You feel it too, don't you?" she asked. He didn't blink. Nia cleaned his leg slowly, her fingers gentle. She whispered, "I think someone followed me last night." The lion let out a low, almost silent growl. Nia froze. She followed his gaze. Nothing. But the way his ears twitched, the way his body tensed. He knew. She whispered, "Someone's looking for you, aren't they?" She didn't expect an answer, but the lion growled again. This time, louder. His body rose halfway, head low, eyes fixed on the trail above. Nia stood too, scanning the rocks. No movement, just shadows. But something wasn't right. She sat down again and spoke softer. "It's okay. They didn't see where you hide. I was careful." The lion settled, but didn't fully relax. He kept watching. That night she walked home faster. She didn't hear footsteps, but her chest wouldn't stop pounding. She looked behind her at least 6 times. When she reached her house, her aunt was waiting. "You're late. I lost track of time." Her aunt folded her arms. "Where do you go every day after school?" "I just walk," Nia lied. "You're hiding something." "I'm not." Her aunt sighed. "You have to be careful, Nia. Things happen out there. You hear me?" "I hear you." But she didn't stop. The next afternoon, she took a different path to the ravine, just in case. When she got there, she paused. The lion was lying down, as usual. But something on the ground caught her eye. Footprints. Not hers. Bigger, deeper. A boot tread. Nia crouched and traced one with her fingers. Someone had been here. Recently. She turned to the lion. "They're close. I think they know you're here." The lion didn't eat that day. He just kept watching the trees above, his body stiff. Nia sat beside him, quiet at first. Then she said, "I won't let them take you." The lion slowly looked at her. "I don't know who they are, but I know they hurt you, and I won't let them do it again." She reached out and touched his fur, just a little. He didn't move. That night she took a longer way home. But even then she still felt it. The eyes. Somewhere in the dark. Watching. Waiting. The whispers started that morning. Nia heard them at the market while buying bread for her aunt. A man leaned over his stall and said, "2 goats gone. Just bones left." Another woman replied, "I heard something moving near the valley last night. Big, like a lion." Nia froze. Her fingers tightened around the bread. Someone else added, "It's not natural. No lion's been seen here for years." Nia walked away, heart pounding. She kept her eyes down, but every word seemed to chase her. "It took my chickens. Something's hiding near the cliffs. We need to set traps." When she reached home, her aunt was waiting with arms crossed. "Sit," she said. "Now." Nia obeyed. "There's talk around the village about a wildcat." Nia stayed silent. "They say it's coming down from the cliffs at night, dragging animals off. Someone's going to get hurt." Nia looked at the floor. Her aunt's voice sharpened. "If there is a lion out there, you stay far away. You understand?" "Yes," Nia whispered. Her aunt sighed. "I mean it. Don't be stupid. Don't go near it." "I won't," she lied. That evening, she left earlier than usual. She took a long way through the trees to avoid being seen. The trail felt heavier now, like every step carried weight. She kept remembering the lion's limp, the pain in his eyes, the way he never growled at her. He didn't hunt. He didn't attack. He just waited, ate slowly, trusted her. When she reached the path to the ravine, something made her stop. A sound, not ahead, behind, soft steps. She turned around, heart racing, and then, from the trees, he appeared. The lion. But he wasn't in the ravine. He had come to her. He was limping, dragging one paw. His mane looked messy, and his breathing was heavy. But he was there, in front of her, not hiding anymore. Nia stepped forward, stunned. "You came to find me?" The lion lowered his head slightly, then took one shaky step closer. She dropped to her knees and reached out. "I was so scared they'd find you first." The lion sniffed her hand, then sat, like he had no strength left to stand. Nia looked around quickly. No one was there. "Just shadows and wind." She whispered. "You're not safe in the ravine anymore, are you? You knew they were coming." The lion rested his head on her lap. His fur felt rough. Hot. She could feel the heat of infection in his leg. "You can't keep hiding, and I can't keep lying." She stayed with him for a while, just sitting, stroking his mane gently. Then she said, "Let's get you back to the rocks. Just for tonight. I'll bring medicine tomorrow. I'll figure something out." The lion stood slowly. Together, they walked, girl and lion, back toward the ravine, careful and quiet. And all the while, Nia knew the village was getting closer. The next morning, Nia stood on her toes behind a wooden fence, watching a dusty Jeep parked just outside the village square. It wasn't like any of the village vehicles. This one was dark green, with a cage welded to the back and thick mud tires. A tall man stepped out. He wore a brown coat and heavy boots. His face was hard, his eyes sharper than they should have been. A long black rifle rested inside the Jeep, glinting in the sunlight. Nia's stomach dropped. The village chief approached him. They shook hands. She couldn't hear much, but she saw the way the man leaned in, serious, whispering something. Then came the words that made her whole body freeze. "We believe the lion escaped during transport." The man said. Nia ducked behind the fence, her heart slamming in her chest. Escaped? Transport? Her mind spun. So they weren't just rumors. This man knew. He was here for the lion. She peeked again. Another villager asked, "Escape from where?" The man nodded slowly. "From a wildlife holding center. East Valley. We were moving him." Something went wrong. Nia's throat felt dry. Why were they moving him in the first place? She clenched her fists and whispered, "What were they doing to him?" She stayed hidden, watching the man open a black folder filled with papers. He showed something to the chief, a photo. Even from a distance, Nia recognized him, the lion. Only different. In the picture, he was thinner, bloodier, chains around his legs, muzzle strapped shut. Her hand flew to her mouth. They had kept him like that? A young boy pointed toward the cliffs. "I saw something there last week." The man turned sharply. "Where?" The boy shrugged. "Just something big. My goat got taken." Nia backed away from the fence and ran. Her feet flew down the narrow path. She didn't stop until she reached the ravine. The lion was there, lying low, breathing heavy. She dropped to her knees beside him. "They're here," she whispered. "They're looking for you." He didn't move, just looked at her with quiet eyes. A man came in a Jeep. "He showed your picture. They said you escaped." She took a shaky breath. "Why were you chained, huh? Why were they moving you?" She touched the side of his neck, near the thin scar. "They didn't care what they were doing to you, did they?" The lion closed his eyes. She wiped a tear from her cheek and said, "We have to be careful. If they find you..." She couldn't finish the sentence. That evening, she didn't eat dinner. She stayed in her room, replaying the man's voice in her head. We believe the lion escaped. She couldn't tell her aunt. Couldn't tell anyone. At midnight, she packed a blanket, some raw meat, and a small knife. Not to use, just to feel safer. She crept out the back door, past the goats, into the trees. She wasn't going to leave him alone now. Not with a man carrying a rifle walking through her village. When she reached the ravine, the lion stirred. "I'm here," she whispered. "I'll stay with you." He let out a soft sound. Not a roar. Not a growl. Just something between breath and voice. Mia placed the meat beside him and gently laid the blanket near his body. "I saw your picture today," she said, her voice shaking. "They hurt you bad, didn't they?" She didn't expect an answer. But the lion shifted closer, his head resting inches from her side. "I'll protect you. I promise." She stayed with him until dawn. But deep down, she knew. The man with the rifle wasn't far behind. Nia stayed by his side through the night. The lion didn't sleep much. His ears twitched at every sound. But he didn't move away from her. And when she leaned into his mane, resting her head just beside his neck, he let her dot. His fur was coarse and warm. She could hear his breathing. Slow, steady. His heartbeat, real and calm, thudded like a quiet drum beneath her ear. "I wish you could tell me what they did to you," she whispered. The lion shifted slightly, as if reacting to her voice. But he stayed still, letting her rest. By morning, she had to go. She stood up, brushing dirt off her knees. "I'll come back tonight," she promised. "Don't move too far." She walked the path back quickly, head down. At home, her aunt was already outside, whispering to a neighbor. "They're setting traps now," the woman said. "That hunter gave them wire and bait." Nia's eyes widened. She stepped closer. "They found goat tracks near the ravine," her aunt said. "They think the lion's still there." Mia felt like she couldn't breathe. She ran inside, grabbed an apple, and left before anyone could stop her. At school, she could barely focus. During lunch, she pulled Lena aside. "Did you hear what they said? About the lion?" Lena nodded. "Yeah, my dad helped dig a pit trap last night." Nia stared at her. "That could kill him." "Well, that's the point." Nia turned away. She couldn't sit through another class. She told her teacher she felt sick and ran. By late afternoon, she was already climbing back toward the ravine. The lion was there, waiting. This time, when he saw her, he stood up. His limp had faded. He looked stronger. He even stretched before, lowering his head again. "You're healing," she smiled. She crouched beside him and gently touched his mane. "They're setting traps," she whispered. "They're scared of you. They don't understand." The lion's eyes flicked toward the path above them. His nose twitched. He knew. "You have to leave," she said. "Soon, but not yet." The lion didn't move. "Please," she begged. "I just need more time. I don't know where you'll go, but they'll come soon, and I can't lose you." The lion pressed his head lightly against her shoulder. Nia broke. She buried her face in his mane and whispered, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what they did. And I'm sorry I can't stop them." They sat in silence for a long time. That night, she brought him cooked chicken and clean water. She checked his wound, nearly closed now. She whispered stories, even though he said nothing. And when she got up to leave, he followed her. Just a few steps. She turned and said softly, "You can't come yet. It's not safe." The lion stopped. He watched her disappear into the trees, but he didn't return to the ravine. He stayed, maybe because he didn't want to be alone. Nia woke before. Gone, heart already racing. Something felt wrong. She didn't eat, didn't talk to her aunt. She just grabbed a cloth, a bottle of water, and ran. She followed the usual path, but didn't see him waiting. The rocks were quiet, the ravine empty. "Where are you?" she whispered, scanning the area. Then she saw it near the edge of the path, where thick ferns had grown over an old trail. A patch of blood.fresh.nia froze. Her eyes followed the trail-broken leaves, a deep groove in the dirt, and then a sight that made her chest cave in. The lion, struggling, his paw caught in a coil of sharp wire hidden beneath the brush. He was on his side, chest heaving. The trap had wrapped tight around his front leg. Blood soaked the dirt. His teeth were bared in pain, but when he saw her, he didn't growl. "No," Nia shouted, dropping beside him. "No, no, no, please." The lion tried to pull away, but couldn't. The wire only tightened, cutting deeper. "It's okay. I'm here. I'll help you." She reached for the wire and tried to pry it loose, but it wouldn't budge. Her hand slipped. The metal bit into her fingers. The lion let out a guttural sound, wild with pain. "Don't move," she cried. "Please, just don't move." Her hands were bleeding now. The wire tore her skin every time she pulled. The lion jerked again, his leg thrashing. "Stop! You'll make it worse." She begged. Tears streamed down her face as she gritted her teeth and wrapped her cloth around the wire. Yanking with all her strength, the wire snapped. The lion roared in agony and collapsed to the ground, breathing hard. "It's out," she whispered. "It's done." She knelt beside him, using the torn cloth to press against his wound. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." His eyes fluttered. He was exhausted, in pain, but still alive. Nia stayed with him, pressing the cloth tighter, whispering over and over, "I didn't know they set one here. I should have checked. I should have seen it." He blinked, weak but calm. She looked at her hands, bloody, torn, but she didn't care. "I won't leave you," she said. "I don't care what they say." She poured a little water onto his leg, washing away the blood, then wrapped it tightly with the rest of the cloth, knotting it gently. The lion lay still, his breathing shaky. It was getting dark. But Nia didn't move. She knew her aunt would be furious. She knew people might be searching, but none of it mattered. That night, Nia didn't go home. She stayed right there, curled beside him in the ferns, her back against his body, keeping him warm with her own. When the wind picked up, she whispered, "You saved me when you followed me that night. Now it's my turn." He didn't roar. He didn't flinch. He just rested his head beside her legs. And together, they stayed hidden beneath the leaves. Two creatures the world didn't understand, holding on in the quiet. Nia didn't sleep. She stayed curled against the lion through the night, listening to his uneven breaths. His leg throbbed under the blood-soaked cloth. Every time he shifted, she whispered, "You're okay. I've got you." But just before dawn, a sound snapped her eyes open. A car engine low, steady, getting closer. She sat up fast and crawled to the edge of the ravine. From a distance, across the valley, two headlights bounced through the trees. A jeep, maybe two. Moving fast, they were coming. She turned to the lion. "They're here." He looked up, body still weak, but his eyes alert. "We have to move." Nia pulled herself up and grabbed the cloth pack she kept nearby. Inside was a little food, some bandages, and a small tin of water. She wrapped her arm around the lion's mane. "Come on, you can do this." He pushed himself up, front leg shaking. His body leaned against her for balance. They began moving. Nia didn't take the usual path. She led him to an old goat trail, hidden behind bramble. No one used it anymore. But she remembered it. She'd once followed her mom here years ago. Before she left, the lion limped beside her every step of fight. But he didn't stop. Behind them, the engine grew louder. Then another joined. She looked back from a high ridge. Below, she saw them. Two jeeps, headlights slicing through the trees. tires tearing through brush. Hunters. Her breath caught. She grabbed the lion's fur and pulled gently. Faster, please. Just a bit more. They climbed through the brush, roots snagging her shoes, branches scratching her arms. Just a bit more. She repeated. The lion stumbled once, collapsing hard. No, she cried, running back. You can't stop now. He tried to rise. Failed. Then, with a groan, he got back up. I'm so proud of you, she whispered. The trail curved upward. Almost there. Just past the rock bend, the land dropped into a deep ditch where no vehicle could reach. She pushed forward, breathing hard. We can hide there. Just over that hill. Behind them, voices shouting. And then, a sound that made her blood run cold. A gunshot. It cracked through the air like lightning. She screamed, "Run!" The lion growled low and forced himself forward, muscles trembling. They reached the bend, tumbled down the slope, landing in thick grass. She crouched beside him, holding her breath. Another shot. Closer. Voices above them now. He went this way. Look for blood. Nia's heart pounded. She pressed her hand over the lion's back. Don't move, she whispered. The lion stayed still. Footsteps came near, then stopped. She clutched the tin of water and waited. Boots stomped above their heads, just meters away. Then, silence, more footsteps. Fading. The voices moved off. She didn't move for 10 full minutes. Then she whispered, We're okay. For now. The lion looked at her, exhausted, alive. They had survived. Nia had barely slept. After the chase, after the hiding, she'd led the lion deep into a grove behind the old mill. There, he collapsed, too tired to move. She stayed with him until the stars faded. Then, with a heavy heart, she whispered, I'll come back tonight. Stay hidden, please. She kissed his mane and ran home before anyone noticed. But sleep wouldn't come. When she finally dozed off, it was just before dawn. And when she opened her eyes again, she wasn't alone. Her window was open. The wind carried a strange sound, soft, steady breathing. Not hers. She sat up, confused. Then she heard a snort. She rushed to the window and gasped. He was there. The lion, right beside the house, curled against the outer wall like a dog waiting for his owner. His fur was still dirty, legs still wrapped in the torn cloth, but his eyes were calm. He had followed her home. She pushed the door open and stepped outside. The ground was still damp with morning dew. She crouched beside him, tears rising in her throat. What are you doing here? She whispered. I told you to stay hidden. The lion blinked slowly, resting his head on his paws. You shouldn't. I've come. It's not safe. Then behind her, the door creaked. Her aunt's voice rang out. Nia, she spun. No, wait. Her aunt stepped out, saw the lion, and screamed. Get back. Nia, get away. Before Nia could speak, more voices filled the air. Neighbors, shouts, doors opening, footsteps rushing. Nia turned back to the lion and pressed her body in front of him. Don't move, she begged. Please don't move. He didn't. He stayed down, calm, quiet. Men came running with sticks and stones. Someone yelled, It's the lion. He's right here. Another man shouted, Get away from it, girl. Nia stood tall, arms out. He won't hurt anyone. Her aunt grabbed her arm. Are you out of your mind? No, Nia pulled away. He's not wild, not anymore. Someone raised a stick. Don't. She screamed. The lion flinched but didn't growl. He followed me because he trusts me, she said. He didn't attack anyone. He's hurt. He needs help, not cages. The chief stepped forward. Nia, step away from it. No, she said. He's mine. Whispers spread through the crowd. He's calm. He's not moving. The man with the rifle appeared at the edge of the crowd. Nia saw him and backed closer to the lion. "You're not taking him," she said. The man raised his voice. "That lion is a rescue subject. He escaped the transport. He's not safe. He's safer here than he ever was with you." The man frowned. "Step aside." She didn't. Move. The lion lifted his head slightly and nudged Nia's leg. The crowd fell silent. That single moment, a touch, a gesture, changed something. "He trusts her," someone whispered. A woman added, "I've never seen anything like this." The chief sighed. "What do you want us to do, Nia?" She looked down at the lion, then up at the village. "I just want him to live." The lion didn't move from the yard. Even with the whole village staring, shouting, whispering, he stayed calm. His chest rose and fell slowly. His eyes stayed on Nia. She sat beside him, one hand on his back. But deep down, she knew it couldn't last. By mid-morning, the chief returned. He wasn't alone. The man in the brown coat stepped out of the jeep again. This time, he carried a long case under one arm. Everyone watched him in silence as he opened it. Tranquilizer darts. Nia jumped to her feet. "No." The man ignored her. He knelt by the case, loading a dart into the rifle. "You said you were helping animals," she shouted. "Is this what help looks like?" He stood, calm but cold. "This lion escaped mid-transport. He's registered property of our center. We've been ordered to retrieve him." "He's not property," Nia snapped. "He's a living soul." The chief raised a hand. "Let her speak." Nia turned to the crowd. "You've seen him. He didn't attack anyone. He didn't even growl when you yelled or threw rocks. He came here because he trusted me." The man lifted the rifle. "I don't have time for a child's feelings." Nia stepped in front of the lion, arms out wide. "Then shoot me first." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Her aunt called out, "Nia, no." But Nia didn't move. "You heard him," she said, eyes locked on the man. "You chained him. You moved him like a thing. He was bleeding when I found him. Starving. Broken." The lion rose slowly behind her. His paw touched the ground, but stayed steady. "You think he's dangerous," Nia said, voice shaking. "But the only danger he ever knew was you." The man hesitated. One of the elders stepped forward. "She's right. I've lived 70 years. Never seen a lion act like that." Another voice said, "He protected her." More villagers nodded. "He should stay." The man gritted his teeth. "He's too big, too unpredictable." Nia looked at the chief. "Please, let him stay a little longer, just until he's healed. I'll take care of him." The chief sighed deeply. "If he stays, it's on your family. You understand?" Her aunt stepped forward slowly. "Then he's under our care." Nia turned, shocked. "You mean it?" Her aunt nodded. "I don't understand any of this, but I know what I saw. He chose you." The man slammed the case. "Shut. This isn't over," he muttered. "The center will file a report." "You do that," the chief replied. "And we'll report how he was found, bleeding, chained." The man climbed back into his jeep and drove off without a word. Nia dropped to her knees and hugged the lion's mane. "You're safe. For now? And the lion?" He gently leaned his head against her chest. The lion lay under the tree behind Nia's house, calm and still, but Nia couldn't relax. Not after what just happened. The man in the brown coat had left angry, and she didn't trust that he was finished. So when she saw the old zoo truck still parked near the edge of the village, she knew what she had to do. She waited until no one was around. Then she crept toward it, her heart thudding. The back doors were slightly open. She pulled one wider and climbed in. What she saw stopped her breath. Chains, dozens of them, thick, rusty, with sharp hooks. There was a metal rod, scorched black at the tip, a branding tool, and behind a wooden crate, a pile of blood-stained cloth. Nia covered her mouth. This wasn't rescue work. This wasn't transport. This was torture. Her eyes landed on a leather binder tucked in a side pouch. She opened it. Inside were notes. Subject 004. Uncooperative. Escalated to sedative injection and restraint. Temporary hold until sale. Sale? She flipped to the last page. A shipment label. Destination scratched out. But the word auction was clear. Her hand shook. She jumped down and ran straight to the chief's house. A group of elders were already gathered, discussing the lion. She burst in. I found something. You need to see it. They followed. Her back to the truck. Inside, she showed them everything. The chains, the blood, the branding rod. The folder. He wasn't escaping, she said, voice loud and clear. He was surviving. An elder picked up a chain, eyes narrowed. This is no way to treat a creature. The chief looked grim. They didn't come to rescue anything. They came to hide what they'd done. Nia added, he's not wild. He's wounded. And he was running from monsters. Word spread fast. By sundown, the truck had been pulled into the square. People came to see the tools, the papers. Even those who had once shouted dangerous now stood silent. The man in the brown coat returned. Just before dark. He didn't expect the crowd. The chief stood waiting. Care to explain? The man's face twisted. Those are standard tools for handling aggressive animals. Chains and burn marks? Someone shouted. A woman held up the rod. You call this care? You branded him, Nia said. I saw the scar under his fur. The man snapped. You think you know better than trained officials? Yes, she said firmly. Because I didn't need chains to earn his trust. The crowd murmured. The chief crossed his arms. You will leave, now, and do not return. The man opened his mouth. The chief didn't flinch. That's not a request. Without another word, the man climbed into the front seat and drove away. Nia stood beside the lion that night, whispering, they can't hurt you anymore. He leaned gently into her. And for the first time since she found him, she believed it. Nia sat at the table with her school notebook and a pen that barely worked. Her hands were still sore from helping the lion the night before, but she didn't care. She had something more important to do now. She took a deep breath and began writing. To anyone who will listen. There's a lion in my village. Not a monster, not a killer. He was hurt, chained, burned. But he's kind. He's gentle. He saved me, and I saved him. Please, help us. She didn't stop there. She wrote another one, then another. Two. Rescue centers, wildlife foundations, news reporters, even a radio station her aunt sometimes listened to. She printed the photos. She took one of the lion resting his head in her lap, one of the scars and one of the blood-stained truck. She mailed the letters 3 days in a row, using every spare coin she had. Her aunt didn't ask questions. Not anymore. She just handed her stamps and said, you better hope someone reads them. At night, the lion paced near their door. He didn't sleep in the yard anymore. He slept right on the porch, under the broken lantern. Each night, Nia stepped out quietly and whispered stories to him. You're getting stronger, she'd say. He'd nudge her hand gently. You still remember that first bite of bread? She smiled. Feels like forever ago. A week passed, then another. No replies. But Nia kept checking the mailbox every morning before school. And then, one afternoon, a white envelope sat there. No name. Just a logo. A wildlife rescue center, 3 towns away. She tore it open with shaking. Hands. It was short, but it was enough. We read your letter. We saw the photos. We believe you. We're coming. Keep him safe. Nia ran straight home. She burst through the door yelling, They're coming? A real center. They believe me. Her aunt stared. Who's coming? Rescuers. People who care. People who won't hurt him. That night, she sat with the lion longer than usual. She leaned against his side and whispered, "You did it. You made it. You just had to survive long enough." He blinked slowly and rested his head beside her. Over the next few days, people in the village started to visit. One brought fresh meat. Another left a blanket. A boy offered an old bowl of water. "He really listens to you," a girl said. Nia smiled. "He listens to everything." As the days ticked by, the lion stayed close to the house. Each night, he waited on the porch, ears twitching until Mia came out and spoke Dot. It became a ritual. Like he needed her voice to fall asleep. She'd whisper, "You're not alone anymore. Just a little longer." And in the quiet, the lion would exhale. Like he understood. The sky changed before nightfall. Dark clouds rolled over the hills, heavy and fast. Nia stood on the porch beside the lion, watching the wind tear through the trees. Her aunt opened the door behind her. "You need to come in. There's a storm coming." "I know," Nia said. "But he gets scared when it rains." The lion didn't flinch. He stood beside her, ears twitching. "He'll be fine," her aunt said. "You won't be if you stay out there." "I'll stay with him just a little longer." Thunder growled in the distance. By nightfall, the wind turned wild. Trees bent. The sky opened. Rain poured hard and fast, soaking the dirt roads and turning paths to mud. And the lion took shelter under a low ridge near the edge of the valley. It wasn't much, but it kept the worst of the rain off them. "I don't want you getting sick," she whispered. The lion pressed close to her, his body blocking the wind. They stayed that way for hours, soaked, silent, holding on. Then the ground shifted. Water from the hill above rushed downward, fast and loud. The nearby river had broken its edge. Flood water spilled into the lower field, racing toward the village. "We need higher ground," Nia gasped. She grabbed her bag and turned. The lion followed, struggling through the mud. They climbed the stone path toward the rocks above the valley. Lightning cracked behind them. Water roared below. Trees bent until they snapped by the time they reached the highest ledge. The world below was drowning. Nia dropped to her knees, panting. The lion stood beside her, soaked but steady. "I didn't think the storm would be this bad," she said. "Rescuers are supposed to come tomorrow. What if the roads flood?" The lion paced nervously. Nia stood, trying to see past the rain. But everything was dark. Then her foot slipped. She screamed as her body slid toward the edge. The rocks were slick, nothing to grab. She felt the drop beneath her, the weight of the fall coming, but then something caught her. Sharp teeth grabbed the back of her shirt. Her body jerked to a stop. She gasped. The lion had her. His jaws clamped her shirt tight. His legs dug into the muddy ground. He pulled. "Hold on," she cried with a heavy groan. He yanked her backward, inch by inch, until she landed hard on her knees. She turned fast and wrapped her arms around him, trembling. "You saved me." He was panting hard, but he didn't back away. Thunder crashed. Again, and then. He roared. It wasn't weak or broken. It wasn't from fear or pain. It was loud, deep, full. The first real roar since the day she found him. And it wasn't for himself. It was for her. She pressed her forehead against his. "You're not broken anymore." They stayed like that all night. Two souls clinging to rock, to life, to each other, while the storm raged around them. By the time the storm finally faded, the world was quiet again. The sun hadn't fully risen, but the wind had stilled and the rain had stopped. Nia sat beside the lion on the high rock, her clothes soaked, her hands numb. But her eyes stayed open. She didn't want to miss them. The rescuers. She had waited too long for this moment and feared it just as much. A rumble broke the silence. This time, not thunder. Tires. A truck rolled into the village clearing below. It was larger than the one from before. White, with green letters across the side. Wildlife Care and Recovery Unit. They're here, Mia whispered. The lion shifted beside her but didn't rise. I know, she said gently. It's time. She stood and placed her hand softly on his shoulder. I promised I'd protect you until help came. They're not like the others. He didn't move. She crouched in front of him, face close. You have to trust them the way you trusted me. A soft knock came at her door an hour later. She'd led the lion back down to the house slowly, step by step, both of them exhausted. One of the rescuers, a woman with kind eyes and mud on her boots, stepped forward. You're Nia? Nia nodded. He's here. He's calm. The woman looked at the lion, lying on the porch like a sleeping dog. She knelt slowly, careful. You're right. He doesn't look wild. He never was, Nia said. They moved. Carefully, speaking in soft voices. No nets, no chains. Just two people with gloves and a padded ramp. Nia brought out a bowl of meat she'd saved. The lion stood with effort, walked over, and ate. His last meal with her. She brushed his mane while he chewed, her hands shaking. I don't want you to go, she whispered, but I know you have to. He finished the food and turned toward the ramp. But before he walked up, he turned back to her. Nia dropped to her knees. He leaned forward and rubbed his head gently against her chest. Not hard, just enough to feel it. That was his goodbye. Nia clutched his face in her arms. I'll never forget you. Not ever. The rescuers waited. They didn't rush her. Finally, she stepped back. The lion walked into the truck. They closed the doors, and just like that, he was gone, but not broken. Not scared. Free. The days felt slower without the lion's shadow by the door or his soft breathing at night. Nia still checked the porch every morning, forgetting for a second that he wasn't there. But one afternoon, a white envelope arrived. Inside were photos, printed neatly, edges crisp. The first one showed him lying in a field of tall grass, his head tilted toward the sun. His mane looked fuller, his eyes peaceful. The second photo showed him near a shallow stream, water around his paws. The third, her favorite, showed him resting under a wide tree, surrounded by other animals in the distance. No chains. No crates. Just space. Just life. A note was tucked inside the envelope. He's adjusting well. Eats twice a day. Has not shown fear or aggression. We call him Baruti. It means teacher, because he taught us something we forgot. Nia pressed the photos to her chest. He was safe. He was finally free. At the market that weekend, people whispered when she walked by. That's the girl, someone said. The one who fed a lion, another added. Kids in the village would stop her and ask, did he really never growl? Nia always smiled and answered, not once. The village slowly changed. The fear faded. Curiosity grew. A painting of the lion appeared on the school wall, a golden figure beside a small girl in a blue dress. Even her aunt said one day, I missed the sound of him scratching the porch. Nia looked up and whispered, me too. At night, she kept the photos by her bed. Sometimes she'd close her eyes and say, are you watching the stars right now? I hope you are. And in the quiet, she could almost feel it, the weight of his head against her chest, one last time. They had survived each other. And now, even apart, their story lived in every whisper, every smile, every child who asked to hear it. Again. The girl and the lion, the ones who chose trust over fear. The air felt different. Not cold, not warm, just still. Nia stood at the edge of the sanctuary, her hands gripping the fence. The years had changed. She was taller now, her voice deeper, but her heart beat exactly like it did the first night she heard that broken roar behind the cliffs. She glanced down at the faded notebook in her hand, the same one she'd used to write those first letters. Inside, tucked between pages, was the photo of him under the tree. His mane had looked soft in the light, his eyes like gold. A staff member approached. "You sure you want to wait alone?" Nia nodded. "Yes, he might come if it's quiet." The woman smiled. "He's older now, slower, but still strong." "I don't need him to run," Nia said. "I just need to see him." The grass stretched far in front of her, golden and thick, rustling in the breeze. For a long time, there was nothing. Then she whispered it, barely louder than her breath. "Baruti?" Silence. She tried again. "Hey, I kept my promise." Still nothing. But then, from the tall grass, something stirred. A shape moved slowly, like a shadow coming to life. Her breath caught Dot. It was him. He stepped out into the open, larger than... She remembered. His mane more gray than gold now, but his eyes exactly the same. She pressed both hands against the fence, tears rising. He stopped just a few feet away. "Do you remember me?" She whispered. Dot. The lion stared Dot, and then he moved. Step by step, he closed the space between them, then gently leaned his head against the fence. Right where her hands rested, Nia broke. "You remembered," she said, her voice shaking. She knelt, forehead touching the mesh. "I missed you. Every single day." The lion blinked slowly, still pressed close. They stayed like that for minutes. No words, no sound. Dot, just breath and memory. She smiled through her tears. "You made it. You really made it." Behind her, someone called softly. "We'll have to bring him in soon. It's almost feeding time." Nia nodded, still holding the moment. "Okay, just one more minute." She looked up at him and whispered, "You don't need to roar anymore. I hear you, always." As he turned and disappeared into the grass, the sound of the wind rose, soft and steady. Dot, and where the roar once echoed. There was peace. Dot, for both of them. Did this story touch your heart? Give it a thumbs up, share it around, and drop your location in the comments.